The hex code for each version's background color for the box art is different. Tomodachi Life was added to Nintendo Selects in every region apart from Europe in 2016 and 2018 respectively. There is slightly different wording for the food tier list between the European and American versions of the game. In Europe, it is really loves/loves and dislikes/really dislikes. In America, these are changed to super all-time favorite/all-time favorite and worst/worst ever. The relationship text is also changed, being special someone in Europe and sweetheart in America. It only takes 6 days for a child to grow up. When giving a Mii clothes, the menu will open on different menus depending on a Mii's gender. If the Mii is male, it will open on the first tab, and if the Mii is female, it would open on the second tab. Tomodachi Life is the 11th best-selling 3DS game ever, with 6.72 million copies being sold worldwide. Tomodachi Life was developed by Nintendo SPD, who are also responsible for titles like Rhythm Heaven and WarioWare. When giving your Mii an item, they will use it the second you give it to them. In the European Tomodachi Life box, it might be in the other boxes, but I'm from the UK, so I have no idea. There are 2 eShop codes for the Welcome Edition of the game, which I broke. The European and Australian versions are the same game. On the back of the European box art, there's a guy holding a kiwi. The demo version of Tomodachi Life is called 2 different things in America and Europe. In America, the demo is called Tomodachi Life Move-In Edition, but in Europe it is called Tomodachi Life Welcome Edition. Speaking of the demo, you can only make up to 3 Miis in this version before being prompted to purchase the full game. The observation tower is missing in the Japanese version, instead being replaced by the roof located above the apartments. There can technically be up to 150 total Miis on the island, 100 in the apartments, and, assuming all Miis get married, 50 children. Nintendo offered official QR codes for at least 5 people, including Shaquille O'Neal, Christina Aguilera, Debbie Ryan, Shaun White, and Zendaya. Newborn babies' eyebrows will always be blonde unless you change it manually, no matter the parent's hair color. The food that appears on the loading screen is completely random. Your island name has to be a maximum of 10 characters, while Mii names have a maximum of 15 characters. There are different personality animations for every region, with the Japanese version having no animations, instead opting for the Mii to stare into your soul. Your lookalike Mii will always like the first food you give them in the tutorial. The first 2 Miis will always be friends as part of the tutorial. Speaking of the tutorial, the requests are swapped in the Japanese version, with the lookalike Mii asking for a friend before asking for food. The related to real you setting affects seemingly nothing and is instead a way for the player to remember who everyone is. Assuming you have the maximum of 100 Miis on your island, each Mii donates an average of £27 and 10 pence each day at the fountain. Pounds and dollars are worth the same in the Tomodachi Life world. There is a dream where the characters age, despite Mii's not aging in the actual game. You can buy moldy bread and expired milk and feed it to your Miis. In spring, some trees at the park will become cherry blossom trees or sakura trees. There is only ever 1 bird that flies over the island. The golden interior is the most expensive thing you could buy in the game for £20,000. Miis can't have a negative reaction to the special foods unlocked via Street Pass. The shopkeeper is called Mr. Tomo. All Josie numbers are 10. The cafe reuses music from Tomodachi Collection, a Japan-exclusive prequel to Tomodachi Life. If you edit a Mii when they are sleeping, they will be awake the next time you see them, which is useful if you play at night. The restaurant where Miis propose is located inside the observation tower. If you attempt to delete your island, your Mii begs you to stop while running towards the screen. There are clay figures present in the game based on Hanawa, which also inspired gyroids. Technically, everyone is a news reporter, as a random islander is chosen for every news report. In the Japanese version, they have an extra song type along with the 8 every other region has, called enka, which is a genre that resembles traditional Japanese style of music. If you give a Mii a Nintendo 3DS XL, you could see them playing Tomodachi Life. In Tomodachi Quest, a Mii's class is determined by their personality. Miis can sleep talk, saying things like, "Do a barrel roll," and "It's dangerous to go alone, take this." There is much more sleep talking dialogue, which just seems to be shower thoughts more than anything. In the Korean version, you could give clothes and hats as level up gifts. Also in the Korean version, it seems that Miis sometimes reward you with 2 items, but I can't read Korean, so this could just be a situational thing. The tick is also blue in this version. The currency is changed to look more similar to the respected region's currency in real life. In the Japanese version, if you use English letters for a name, the Miis will just spell it out. The save icon is much bigger in the European and American versions compared to the Japanese one. The town hall icon is completely different, being a brick wall in the international release and a metal engraved plate in the Japanese release. There is a slight wording difference between the European and American versions in the personality settings. The European version lists caring, while the American version lists polite. Another difference here is unique in Europe and quirky in America. Most of the options are worded differently as well, being energy, facial expressions, and mood in Europe, and movement, expressiveness, and attitude in America, with speech and overall being left the same. In the Japanese version, the age-o-matic is only permanent for a child if that child is wanting to get married. The music box item shows the Japanese map without the observation tower in all versions. The max level is 99, but Miis will still level up normally, and you will still be able to give them rewards. Mii's bow in the Japanese and Korean versions, which was replaced with a wave in the American and European versions. Also in the Japanese and Korean versions, the Miis wipe their mouths with their sleeve, while in all other versions they use their hands. There are multiple dreams in the Japanese version that have been altered or straight up removed, as they are potential references to sensitive subjects. For example, the rucksack dream has the Miis being held by the neck, which was changed to them holding onto the rope instead. A similar thing happens with the stick figure dream. In the demo, your money is replaced with a more information tab. Miis sing songs from the concert hall while taking a bath. If you throw a Mii, they will always walk back to the original spot they were in. Despite there being a clock at the town hall, it does not ring at every hour. You sometimes see Miis shopping at the clothing store. If you choose to have a child Mii live on the island, they will appear in the father's apartment in the Japanese version. In all other versions, they will stay in the house. You can increase a Mii's happiness by simply patting them on the head. If you get an item worth over £100 in the mystery bags, the crowd will cheer. The result of a confession is always the same, no matter how you decide to do it. The Japanese version lacks the Nintendo image share, and you start off with the quality of life feature, so the news flash never happens either. Another very small difference is that the Miis have shadows on the save screen, while in other versions they do not. In Japan and Europe, a small warning appears in the child swinging game to not swing your child in real life. This is absent in other versions for some reason. The little indicator to tell you whether or not the Mii is a child is missing in the Japanese version. When a Mii is interviewed in the Japanese version, their age will be visible. Tomodachi Collection was originally planned to be released internationally, but they couldn't figure out how to do the voices right in other languages. The compatibility tester does not affect any relationships in the game, but it's still quite fun to use. Miitopia is thought to be inspired by Tomodachi Quest, a minigame in Tomodachi Life. Miitomo is Nintendo's first venture into mobile games and is very similar to Tomodachi Life, though it was discontinued 2 years after being released in 2016. Miitopia is the only game to ever allow Miis to be transferred from Tomodachi Life and Miitomo. The panda suit is only able to be obtained by completing the demo version of the game and transferring it over to the full game. Getting divorced Miis back together is one of the most rare events in Tomodachi life, as people with over 500 hours on the game have stated they've never seen it. The final news announcements for achieving a certain number of problems solved is 9,999. The island on the home menu is the original Japanese island, as it is missing the observation tower. In the Japanese version, donations are collected in a white box instead of a piggy bank. Miis melt if they hate food, and if they love a food, they will dance or become a rocket and fly into space. Whether or not a Mii dislikes a certain food is completely random and is not related to the personality. Each default interior corresponds to a certain personality. Miis can never dislike a room, but they can question why you put them in a prison cell. When you win a minigame in the Japanese version, there are smiley faces, but in all other versions it is replaced with musical notes and fireworks. A similar thing happens when losing a minigame. In the Japanese version, there are water droplets, and in all other versions it is replaced with a rain cloud. In the Japanese version, there are custom presets for the concert hall songs, but you can also write your own lines just like in other versions. In Tomodachi Life lore, the 8th of every month is Putty Rubber Day. Arm wrestling is a popular sport on the Tomodachi Life Island. There is a weather forecast for space, which implies that Miis are able to freely visit and potentially even live on other planets. In the European version, Miis are most commonly interviewed in London and New York. In Tomodachi Collection, the game calls you out if you turn off the power without saving and gives you a news report lecturing you. You have to pay to delete a Mii. And finally, Nintendo made a trailer for Miitopia using a Mii news report.